Welcome to another episode of Moped Outlaws. Our guest, Mohamed Nabil, today was a really interesting conversation. He's got some really intriguing ideas about how to change the world. He's a creative writer. He's a marketer. He is thinking about how to leverage technology in new ways to help humanity be a better place, world be a better place, and humanity be healthier and happier. It's quite a ride. So
it's a short ride. And so please support Blast, Compton Cowboys, subscribe to us. It helps us keep doing this, which we love doing, and enjoy the ride.
Say hallo?
Blijven.
Dus zeker wegen them.
Yo je iets niet, joh.
Two outlaws on the lam, taking the back roads through America.
You can't drink enough coffee for this show.
And now it's time for Monday Madness with the Moped Outlaws, Greg and Mark.
welcome to another episode of the Moped Outlaws. Today, our guest is Mohamed Nabil, who is a freelance marketing consultant, author of the Bachelors of Egypt novel, the novel Enlightened Populism, Reflections on the News Cycle of a Pandemic, and My Interview with ChatGPT. He's also written a global justice novel, Philosophical Debates with AI, Ideas That Survived AI DOP, Sets Minds Free, Humanity's Money, and Truth is Sexy. He's the creator of AI DOP, one of the founders of the Harass the Harassers campaign, and a founder of multiple community development initiatives, winner of the Outstanding Leadership Award for contributions to the fields of marketing and advertising, awarded by the Marketing 2.0 conference in Dubai. Welcome, Mohamed. It's great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, so when I first looked at what you were doing, I was really fascinated with the way that your blog is talking about conversations with AI and stuff like that. But what I'd love to start with is this novel about Egypt. Tell us a little bit about how you came to write The Bachelors of Egypt. Is it at all autobiographical?
No, it's not autobiographical. It's set in Egypt 2011-2012, which I considered a brief era of enlightenment within the Egyptian society. So people believed their opinions mattered, and this made book readership to rise, and this made internet usage to rise dramatically, and people actually thought their own conversations within the streets can make a difference. Their own opinions can shape the future of the country. So
this is something we referred to in the West, right? At that time, we were witnessing all of these things. And I noticed the cover of the book is on your T-shirt. So you said it was the golden age, or the primary era. What happened after 2012?
After 2012, the Muslim Brotherhood came to power, and then protests continued against them. And then one year later, they were overthrown by the military. You may consider it a coup, or you may not consider it a coup, because people were on the streets asking the military to intervene. So they were overthrown, and then nowadays the protests are dangerous. So it's not the same climate.
Right. So the characters in the book are approaching this they're in this era of Egyptian Renaissance, right? But it's foreshadowing what's going to occur later with the repression of the Muslim Brotherhood. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. And it makes a difference that in 2011, 2012, there were continuous clashes between rebels and civilian rebels and police and army forces, and the Muslim Brotherhood were on the side of the army at the time. So it's worth documenting that fact, because later on they asked for the rights of everyone. They said we need to get the rights for everyone. We need to the army leaders need to pay back for what they did in 2011, 2012, which is meaningless because at the time they were best friends.
With them, yeah. Is that why the army was willing to participate in overthrowing out the Muslim Brotherhood?
It was apparent for everyone that the army was willing to participate, the army leaders at least, that were willing to participate in overthrowing the Muslim Brotherhood. It was obvious for everyone except for the members of the Muslim Brotherhood. They thought because they won an election, they would last forever. The Egyptian president Mohamed Morsi, who belonged to the Muslim Brotherhood, said stuff like in his last speech, said stuff like, "I have men like gold," referring to police and army forces. And President Sisi, the current president, was back then the Minister of Defense, was sitting like that, basically telling him, "I'll overthrow you." But the Muslim Brotherhood, they didn't understand it.
Why do you think protesting is dangerous now, when it seems like throwing the Muslim Brotherhood out was an act of freedom and a desire for freedom, but what you're saying is today that freedom has been shelved?
Yes, that freedom has been shelved. What happened is we have two powerful political lobbies in Egypt. At least we had two. The army is a political lobby in Egypt, and the Muslim Brotherhood. So the Muslim Brotherhood were the second most powerful political lobby in Egypt, and they lost power completely after getting overthrown. So now we only have the military dictatorship, and this is how it works. No more protests, no more rebels, no nothing.
It seems for the people then, it doesn't matter who's in power. The people are just losing.
Exactly. The system remained the same. It was the same before 2011 at the time of Hosni Mubarak, and it was the same at the time of Morsi, and it remained the same when Sisi came to power. So the book, however, is set during the era under the SCAF rule, the Supreme Council of Armed Forces. During this era, this specific brief era, people believed their opinions mattered. People had a chance to change stuff leading to the future.
All right. So how does your title reference all this political, social movement happening, the Bachelors of Egypt?
I focus on the social aspects, and I let the tyrannical part run in the background.
So what does Bachelors, so is Bachelors just an easy reference to the men are unmarried that are in your story?
Yes, the men who are unmarried in my story, and some people thought I'm writing about bachelors because they are suffering from bachelorhood. I'm not. That's not what I meant. What I meant is that bachelorhood is a choice. Being single is a choice, and it's a valid choice. If you'd like to stay single, that's your own choice. If you'd like to get married, that's another choice. So,
what is it about that independence, that male independence, the bachelorhood, that you want people to understand from the story?
Well, I'd like people to understand that you have, whether a male or a female, you have the freedom to live alone if that's what you prefer. I believe a healthy relationship, shall be based on love and mutual understanding. If you can't find these with a life partner, then the relationship would be useless. It's better to stay alone.
is there, forgive us because we don't understand a lot about of Egyptian culture, but is it safe to say, would you agree that Egyptian culture prioritizes marriage, even perhaps arranged marriage, in order to facilitate the cultural and the societal structures it needs? Is it frowned upon to be a bachelor in Egypt?
Yes, it's pretty hard to be a bachelor in Egypt. So you have traditionally we had lots of cousins marriage, just to solidify the status of a certain family, to keep the inheritance within the family. This would be weird in Western cultures to have cousins marry each other, but in Egypt it was pretty common, and now it's decreasing in popularity. But that's an example of how the structure goes. And then we have the arranged marriages, and we have a general rule: no sex before marriage, reinforced by it's a social rule reinforced by religious beliefs and stuff like that. But it's continuously being broken by multiple people.
By what
So
people?
it sounds like the patterns of the West of open relating and sexual freedom are still influencing Egyptian culture in that respect. And the Muslim Brotherhood continues to think that's a bad social construct, right? And they're trying to oppress that idea.
Yes, and the Muslim Brotherhood didn't get into any fights for Islam. They are typically observed as radical Islamists, or people who would fight for establishing Islamic rule and stuff like that. But they didn't get into any fights for any religious beliefs. All of their fights were for power. They just lost.
What is the makeup of Egyptian culture? There's a Muslim culture, and then a more strict Muslim culture, and then other cultural aspects of Egypt. There's Christians there, right? Are there Jews there, right? What's the makeup like?
Decades ago, there used to be Jews in Egypt, but now there aren't, for political reasons, because basically when Israel was established, we suffered from religious intolerance within the leaders of the government. So they basically considered all Jews to be Zionists, and they started kicking them out of the country. So nowadays you can rarely see a Jew in Egypt, but traditionally there were multiple Jews lots of Jews living in Egypt. And today we have 90% Muslims, Sunni, that's a sect in Islam, 90% Muslim Sunni roughly, and roughly 10% Christians. Out of the 10% Christians, 9% are Orthodox Coptics. We call them Coptics. So, and 1% is like Protestants and Catholics and other sects.
Got it. Where's the thread of the pharaohs? Like, you're in the world where we all know there was an Egyptian culture that predates Christianity, predates so many cultural initiatives. Where's the thread of that lineage in your culture now?
I don't see any thread except for the stuff that they left behind, the pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff like that. I don't think we have the culture of the pharaohs, and we're not influenced by the culture of the pharaohs. Unlike the Nubians, I don't know if you have an idea of the Nubians.
A little bit. Tell us more about the Nubians.
Nubians are currently living within the south of Egypt and the north of Sudan. So thousands of years ago, they used to have their own empire. It was like the pharaohs. They used to have their own civilization and stuff like that. And then it vanished. Nowadays, they don't have a country. They are distributed within the area between South Egypt and North Sudan. but they maintain their own cultural aspects. They maintain their own unwritten language. They have an unwritten language that they speak together. They have their own music. They have their own food. They maintain cultural aspects all over the years, thousands of years. Generations passed down cultural aspects together. The pharaohs had an opposite story. Egypt's still a country, regardless of its borders, where its historical borders has been and where its current borders are. Egypt's still a country, but we don't have the pharaonic culture. We don't belong to that. Some Egyptians just take pride in the fact that pharaohs lived here, but the only relationship is that they lived here thousands of years ago. They didn't pass along anything, except of course for the monuments and the big pyramids and stuff like that.
And so where do you align in terms of culture and religion in your own life?
In my own life, I pick elements from each culture that I think suit me. I consider myself a citizen of the world. I pick the elements I like the most. So my favorite food is Italian and Syrian.
It's good
It's not
food.
Egyptian. Good food. and I typically watch movies from Hollywood, and I just like the rest of the world, and I listen to music from multiple places around the world and stuff like that. I consider myself a citizen of the world. I believe nationalism or patriotism are absurd.
Got it. Thank you for that. So how has your dialogues with AI influenced your audience?
Yes, people were surprised at the beginning, and some people didn't understand how I got into that. I'm basically debating AI tools all over my whole bibliography and essays and everything. So some people got confused at the beginning. Then they started reading in depth, and then they started appreciating the process, because AI DOP or AI debates on one's publications allows your audiences to follow the reasoning behind every conclusion, instead of asking them to accept or reject it blindly.
Got it. What are you hoping to achieve through these writings?
Well, I have three main pillars. AI DOP or AI DOP, I'd like to spread it all over the world. It may have a revolutionary impact on publishing, education, policymaking, humanities, and social sciences. And I'm trying to spread enlightened populism as a behavioral pattern of communication. And I'd like to establish a global government to be ruled by hyper-local citizen assemblies.
Say that again slower. The part about government, we missed that part.
A global government to be ruled by hyper-local citizen assemblies.
Hyper-local citizen assemblies. Thank you for that. Does that make it dangerous for you in your country?
I didn't start organizing yet, so till now it's not dangerous. I'm still spreading the message. I don't know what their view might, what the government may think of that, but it's a peaceful message. I'm not asking anyone to get into violence. I'd like to get things done peacefully. I'd like to convince a significant number of people around the world that we need one unified global government, and then we can move from there.
So how does hyper-localized governance facilitate a global cooperative?
Yes, so the citizen assemblies would be hyper-local. It would be by far 10 minutes away from your home, your own citizen assembly. And then you will vote for issues within your own neighborhood. This is the neighborhood influenced by the citizen assembly. This will mainly be for cultural issues or trivial matters, the matters that are not extremely important. And then you will vote on issues. There will be coordination between these citizen assemblies to vote on global issues that impact all of humanity.
So what's the apparatus? How is it supposed to work? What's the structure? What's the infrastructure that makes it work?
The infrastructure that makes it work is that you'll have facilitators. They are not presidents or representatives. And then instead of representative democracy, we'll rely on direct democracy. People voting directly on issues that matter to them. And then we can have these facilitators just coordinating among these citizen assemblies what should be voted upon next, and the numbers of votes on each issue within each citizen assembly.
Got it. Greg, do you have a question?
No.
Okay. For people listening, Mohamed, what would you like from them? What would be the most exciting thing for them to do?
Well, if they are a content creator, if a content creator is listening, I'd like them to try AI DOP. They can find the content on my website. They just need to copy the content, paste it into an AI tool like ChatGPT or something, and then get their content into it and get into a debate with the AI tool. Publish the entire exchange within 24 hours of the exchange. So
when you say publish it, where?
Publish it on their website, or if they have a video platform like you, they can publish it like verbally. They can.
Yeah. So what is AI DOP doing in that relationship?
And that relationship it encourages enlightened populism. That's basically it. So enlightened populism is a behavioral pattern of communication that involves listening to multiple experts, trying to understand how they reach certain conclusions, and investigating the information to discover the truth. It contrasts with the two dominant behavioral patterns of communication in today's world: blind elitism, which entails blindly following an expert or an elite on a certain issue, and ignorant populism, which also involves the absence of investigation while relying on feelings or trends.
How can we trust that each individual LLM that you engage in the AI DOP process is going to have a benevolent approach to the internalized debate and thus influence a positive result?
Well, you need to challenge the AI tool. You need to tell it, criticize my content. And some of them, in my own experience, have been useless. Even if you tell it to criticize, it won't come up with sharp criticism. Like Meta AI is almost useless as a philosophical partner, as a philosophical sparring partner. But ChatGPT has been useful, and Gemini has been useful. I mentioned them on my website as recommended tools.
Have you had conversations like this with Grok?
I've had conversations like this with Grok, but I didn't find it extremely powerful.
Got it. What about what about with Claude?
No, I didn't try Claude yet.
Got it. And then what other ones do you hope to attempt to try it with, or do you pretty much stick to ChatGPT and Gemini?
I'd like to try Claude because I didn't try it yet. I remember one time I tried Microsoft Copilot, and I reached a stage where I told it, I'm going to publish this content. Just give me criticism that people would care to read. I reached this point with it, and then it didn't provide any substance. So I told it I'll switch to Gemini, and then I copied that part to document the status of AI tools. I copied that part and posted it into my blog. The initial part where I got with the chat with Microsoft Copilot, and leading up to the point where I'm saying it's useless, and then moving to Gemini.
Got it. So it sounds like when you're using your free time, the time that you're not working, and you're producing all of these things, this is your passion, this is what you're curious about and what you want to facilitate in the world. But you're also an expert marketer. Are you an independent company, or are you working for a company in that role?
No, I work as a freelance marketing consultant, and during this year, I've been less focused on marketing consultancy and more focused on my own philosophy and the books I've written.
And are you able to monetize your books and those things sufficiently to replace your work?
Yes, initially, yes, and it's rising. So over time, it may replace my own work. So and to be honest with you, I personally inherited pieces of land from my father. So I'm not really worried about the financial income. I have this privilege to do stuff for humanity in my free time without worrying about the financial aspect.
Got it. And have you thought about making any movies from any of your books?
Yes, I thought the Bachelors of Egypt would make an interesting movie, and I only published 2 novels, The Bachelors of Egypt and Global Justice. They both make interesting movies. In an previous interview, I told them I'd like to have Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Johnny Depp in the cast.
Wow, they are old. Those people are old.
Yes,
so how bachelors in your book?
No, they won't be in the Bachelors of Egypt. They would be in Global Justice. Global Justice is about a global movement aiming at abolishing monarchies and establishing a global government. So this global movement has a party within the UK, and it's running for elections. So I want Al Pacino to play the role of the king, and Al Pacino. And Robert De Niro, I'd like him to play the role of Nigel Farage, and Johnny Depp, I'd like him to play the role of Keir Starmer. I don't know if you're aware of these politicians there within the British. Yeah.
Yes. So in the book they're running, but are you actually running in candidacies already in a virtual sense, or running virtual candidates?
No, I'm only at this point. I'm only interested in spreading the message. I'm checking whether I can convince a significant number of people that we need this solution.
Okay. What's to prevent the global governance structure that you're talking about from becoming a global monarchy?
It won't become a global monarchy because we will. It will be based on citizen assemblies. So it's basically power to the people, giving power to the people. You vote directly on all issues. You don't even have a representative democracy. You don't even have a president or a prime minister controlling things on your behalf. You control things directly.
Got it. So when people are curious about this and they hear the show, you're recommending that they go to your website and download the AI DOP process and then have their own debates and publish them, right?
Yeah. Yes, and they can read my own essays on these issues and see whether they are convinced.
And what's your website?
MohamedNabil.world. MohamedNabil.world.
Got it.
It would be helpful if you can add it in the description.
We will definitely do that for sure. It's an interesting concept that you've brought forth, and I've thought about this myself a little bit, so I'm curious about it. One of the things that we wanted to do is just give you, like, what is the best way for people to interact with you?
Through my website.
Okay. All right. Well, before we wrap this up, we often ask one final question that we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
And it means a lot to us to ask this question. It's not just a joke, right? It sounds fun. It's fun. but we're actually looking for what your heart says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg?
All right. So, Mohamed, our final question: Eminem or Foo Fighters?
M&M's or what?
Foo Fighters.
Eminem or Foo Fighters?
I don't know what Foo Fighters is, but I know M&M's. Can I pick Maltesers? I prefer Maltesers. I really love it.
Okay, well, these are music groups.
Well, wait. See, it doesn't matter. What are
these are
Maltesers?
music groups.
Wait. What are Maltesers?
These are music groups.
What are Maltesers?
Maltesers are chocolates. It's like M&M's.
And they're made in Egypt?
No, they are made by Mars, I think, or something.
What is it
supposed
about
to be
them
there
you
in the
like?
US.
What do you like about them?
It has malt that.
Okay.
It has malt and then it's covered with chocolate.
Okay.
So it's perfect. I'd like to try it one day.
Sounds good.
It's been great having you on the show. I'm really curious. I will look a little bit more and perhaps dive into some AI DOP myself, because I really enjoy, philosophical arguments, and I love the invitation to do that. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me tonight.
Recording stopped.